Well, we know that the hedgehogs are so
vulnerable.
Vulnerable, and that they're so gentle,
Yeah.
and stroking one is quite calming.
Yeah.
And we feel that they really ought to be
Yeah.
helped more than they are.
Yeah. Everyone's a character.
Yes.
They've all got different personalities. Surprising, but you wouldn't think it, but they do. Yeah.
Because of the warming of the atmosphere, we feel that the hedgehogs are coming out of hibernation earlier, and therefore they're finding that there's nothing for them to eat because the insects have not yet come out of their hibernation, or they've not yet emerged. And I feel that they're also going into hibernation later, and they might get caught out by a cold snap and not be ready for hibernation. So I think there's a double-edged sword there, later and then earlier. One of the things the hedgehogs find the most difficult to find is water. So you need to have a shallow dish of water in order that hedgehogs can access that. We have a garden pond with a shallow shelf so that if they fall in, which they sometimes do, they can swim to the shelf and they get out. So water is vitally important. Most people will not have a source of water in their garden, and that's what they find the most difficult to source. They can also feed them cat food, or dog food is okay, but they seem to prefer meat-based cat food, not fish-based cat food. That makes them sick. So you need meat-based cat food, the cheapest you can find. Tins, perfect. And don't put out milk, do not put out bread. It will make them ill. They need to be able to roam, so going underneath a fence, like we have here, it needs to clean out, but that would be our exit there. Also have a gate with holes in the bottom so that they have to be able to move between gardens. Staying in one garden is not any use for them. If you find a small hedgehog at the back end of the year in November, that's what we will take. And then we hope that they will hibernate and then emerge at this time, so we can then release them into a safe environment away from a busy road. I'd like to make a plea to house builders when they're putting in a new estate to make sure that they have a highway system in the gardens so that the hedgehogs are not, they do have hedgehogs in their gardens, they're not having to go out onto the road to find another way into somebody else's garden. So it's easy. A little bit of a gap under the fence is all that they actually need, but they need it between lots of gardens, not just 2 gardens or 3 gardens. What can people do to help them? I think what people can do to help them is water, food, and a space to roam. That's what a person in a normal home can do. That's really all they can do.